Hello, everyone. It's Dave Coates here from National Safety Training Center. Hey, this is our segment called CPR to CEO, where we're going to teach you some of the tools you need to make your CPR training business a success. There's certain things you need to have to run a CPR business. We're going to cover just the basics today. So let's dive into it. Hey, number one thing you're going to need to have for a CPR business: CPR mannequins. I know it sounds intuitive, but not everyone gets that. So there's several different brands of CPR mannequins that you can have. We tend to use ones from Laerdal. We like these the best because they are the most durable, they are easily field repairable, and they're easy and simple to use and transport. In addition, the Laerdal mannequins come in two different styles, kind of the regular old school and the electronic QCPR. So the QCPR mannequins have all kinds of Bluetooth electronics in them. So when you're doing your CPR training, the results come to the instructor and we can share them on an iPad, an iPhone, or other electronic device. It's very valuable when you're doing healthcare level classes to have this type of feedback. The other mannequins that are perfectly acceptable that you might find out there are ones from Preston. Preston also makes an excellent product. Their mannequins, as opposed to the Bluetooth connectivity, will generally have some lights that light up on the mannequin's shoulder, which gives you feedback as well. Some people prefer that. It's different strokes, different folks, different strokes. The third type of mannequin that we'll cover is from a company that called themselves Big Red. Big Red's very popular with the American Red Cross. Big Red mannequins also we love for lay rescuer classes. Big Red mannequins have a visualization of LEDs that circulate blood, and ultimately when you're doing CPR correctly, there's a big light that lights off on the mannequin's forehead that tells you you're being successful. You're circulating blood to the brain. So it's very visual feedback, and again, students like that, particularly at the lay rescuer level. Not as much for healthcare providers. It's a little wonky. There's no lights that go up in real patients' heads. So all of those mannequins are acceptable. They all come in different sizes: adults, children, and infants. You don't necessarily need all the sizes, but absolutely you're going to need adults. And if you teach healthcare provider or you teach some of the larger lay rescuer classes, you're probably going to want some infants as well. Our inventory consists of Laerdal adult mannequins, Laerdal QCPR adult mannequins, to a limited extent some Laerdal child mannequins, and then a whole lot of Laerdal infant mannequins. They're all excellent. How many mannequins are you going to need? Well, if your class size is going to be up to, say, 9 or 10, you're going to need at least 3, possibly 4 of each type of mannequin that you're going to be teaching. So if you're doing healthcare, you're going to need both adult and infant mannequins. That's certainly my suggestion. At least 3, 4 is a better plan: adult and infant mannequins to get your business started. Wow, all right. That's the first part you got to get out of the way. To teach CPR, you got to have CPR mannequins. The next thing you're going to need, though, is AED trainers. AED trainers also come from a variety of sources. The American Red Cross sells an AED trainer that's very interesting. There's other ones from anyone from the AED manufacturers themselves, which are lovely because they mimic the size, shape, tone of the AEDs that people use in, quote, real life. So if you have a large budget, because they are very expensive, it's wonderful to have the exact same training AED as you're deploying to your workforce. The ones that we use they're small little yellow micro AEDs. They're smaller, they're less expensive, they last just as long, they're very easy to transport, and we find them to be the best value. There's a wide variety and you can choose what you will. Some use different size batteries. There's certainly an effort you could have to have all the same type of batteries in all of your equipment. That might be an interesting plan. So we've got now mannequins, AED trainers. You're also going to need some pocket masks with training valves. So this is when you're going to put your mouth on the mannequin to breathe. I don't want your mouth going on the mannequin's mouth because that's just icky. We always want to have a breathing barrier. At a minimum level, that's a face shield, and that's certainly one choice. These are a kind of an advanced piece of plastic with a little kind of cutout with a filter type substance to allow you to breathe through while not making direct mouth to mouth contact with your victim or the training mannequin. That's the kind of the basics. The next level up is a pocket mask. This is a firm piece of plastic with a soft kind of cushiony, it's a firm piece of plastic with a soft cushion and a one-way valve that allows you to make a good seal on the patient's face. These are excellent. These are used by first responders all over the world. Lifeguards in particular make excellent use of pocket masks, and they're generally the first line of defense in corporate settings and many first response teams. The most reliable way is a bag valve mask. And here's a picture of one right here. So the bag valve mask is the gold standard of healthcare providers. It's what we use in the ambulance. It's what they use in the hospital. It's easily connected to advanced airways, and it allows the provider who's delivering respirations to feel how the air is going into the victim's or the mannequin's lungs. It's an excellent representation of real training. So when you are doing training with a bag valve mask, it very accurately represents what it feels like on a real victim. All right, back to the summary. We got mannequins, we got AED trainers, we've got airway devices. Now we're looking pretty good. The other things you might need in your resource kit are a laptop and a projector. It's very likely that you're going to have to show some type of PowerPoint presentation or a movie during your CPR classes. So having those resources will definitely give you a leg up and allow you to deliver more classes than if you had otherwise. All right, that's all the kind of equipment you're going to need. Let's talk about the instructor materials. So in all cases, you're going to need an instructor manual. Whether you're teaching for the American Red Cross, the American Heart Association, or any other training organization, you're going to want the instructor manual for the course that you're teaching in your hands while you're teaching the course. If you've taught the course hundreds and hundreds of times, maybe you're not opening the book and turning page by page, but you best have it with you. Someone someday is going to ask you a question, you're going to get stumped, and you're going to want to turn to page 307 in the manual and find the answer for them. The other thing you might want to have is the student materials. Sometimes the students use online materials, and that's fantastic. I love the blended learning classes where the students have access to the online books. It's wonderful. But when you're teaching in-person class only, and sometimes even during blended learning, having visual material for the students to have in their hands is invaluable. In particular, when you have large classes and you have groups doing individual skills, you can use a technique called coach and student, where one of two students is using the mannequin and the other student is coaching that first student out of their participant manual. It's an excellent force multiplier and really helps when you're delivering classes. So we got instructor materials, we got student materials, and again, that goes along with that. You may need the course presentations, be that a DVD, a PowerPoint, videos that you're streaming, some other way to show those videos that are required for your classes. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. How much does all this cost? Well, in reality, you're probably looking at between minimum of $2,000, maybe up to $4,000 to get yourself started. Now, if you plan to teach a lot of classes, that makes sense. Go ahead and make that investment for yourself. If you're not sure, you're kind of dipping your toe in the water, maybe there's someone you can borrow equipment from. Maybe it's your training center, maybe it's your friend, maybe it's the local fire department or ambulance squad. Good thing to think about. That'll get you started. All right, now that we got the equipment, the hardware down, there's some other software tools that you'll probably want to have for your CPR business. Some kind of scheduling tool. Could be when to work, Acuity, Enrollware, some type of scheduling tool where people can log on and schedule classes with you. We use a system called Configio. We think it's excellent and we're very happy with it. We've used it for almost 20 years. It's not the low cost provider out there, so it's probably not the first system you're going to use, but it is a wonderful all-inclusive system that includes the ability to schedule classes, an email system, a marketing system, as well as a customer relationship management system. That's certainly one good piece of software. There are plenty of others out there. You may need a dedicated phone line. Now, there's ways you can do this with your existing cell phone. You can have a Google Voice account, or you can have a dedicated business phone. That's actually what we do. It may not be the best for someone just starting out, but we have a dedicated business phone that rings in multiple locations so that our staff can pick it up no matter where they're located. A Google Voice account simulates that to a very good extent as well, and that may be a good solution for you too. The other thing you might need is invoicing in a billing system. You can use maybe Excel to track your expenses and do your invoices. You can send invoices out on Microsoft Word if you want. QuickBooks, however, has been an excellent resource for us. We find it to be a very good value, and you may too. A professional website. That may be the next and last thing you do, although there's an argument that it may be the first thing you should do. So there are a number of website builders out there, from WordPress to Wix to an integrated solution like we use at Configio. All of those are out there, all of those are possibilities, and they run from relatively easy and inexpensive to very complex and very expensive. My suggestion again, use a simple approach as you're getting started. As you get larger, you can scale as appropriate. Wow. That's been a lot of information. We've covered everything from hard assets, hard goods, things you need to do to teach CPR. We've covered the soft stuff, the software and scheduling and phone stuff you might need. I didn't mention business cards. Business cards are very important. Either hard business cards, or we've been switching over to using the dot card. It's an electronic card that works very well. It has all our links in it, and we've liked it very much. One more thing I'll add here at the end. Your business will likely survive on Google reviews, good, bad, or otherwise. We use a system called Tap 5. It's a little stand that we have in our classrooms, and after every class, as we're processing course records, we ask the students to come up to this, tap on it with their phones, and leave us a Google review. It's been an excellent source of very positive feedback for us, and it really has worked rather well. So whether you use that particular system or some other version of that, we definitely recommend some method of having Google review. Wow, I think that's it for today. So again, my name's David Coates over here at National Safety Training Center, bringing you episode 3 of CPR to CEO. We'll see you out there in the classroom. Thanks so much.